Hey everyone, Brandon here from B2R Investing and Financial Talk. Today is going to be a little bit different. I'm going to use history to teach us lessons in real estate. So follow me now. The Roman Empire from the 300 BCs to the 300 AD became the largest empire in territory in all the world. And part of the reasons were what we deem now called marching camps. Each of the legionnaires would march 20 miles. They would send a team scouting out ahead at the 20-mile area looking for the right place to begin building a fort. They would begin preparing the fort ahead of time for the entire army to get there, and they would create this network every 20 miles of these forts and was allow them to take territory. And because of these extensive network of marching camps that ended up becoming forts, they were able to take territory and also to hold on to territory. They would use these as staging areas to take more territory each 20 miles, and then also, if they were under attack, to have a place to retreat in a fortified area to either regroup, reorganize, and begin to defeat that army. So the lessons you say, I want to go through some of the lessons I thought about as they went each time and they built their territory 20 miles at a time. Things that we can do. So each of these forts projected strength, power, and protection. Same thing, they became offensive and defensively. As you had this network of forts, it became a force multiplier. And it was a staging area to take more territory. And that they'd send these teams ahead of them to look for the right spot to build their fort. They had systems with their teams of the construction and how to do it and how to keep it done in the most optimum way to hold on to that territory. So for us, as we're buying our real estate, we are taking territory. What do we need to do to be able to take territory, not only to take it, but also to hold onto it and to be a strategic launching point to take more territory? Several things. So as we're taking territory, one of the principles, they only went 20 miles. That is as far as the legionnaires could march effectively and take territory. What we want to do is to take the right territory, not getting ahead of ourselves, taking too far, too much territory that ends up putting jeopardy the entire army and we lose more territory. We should take the right amount of territory that doesn't put the rest of our properties. So when we're buying that property, we should not overstep and try to take a property that ends up putting all of our properties in jeopardy. We should take it stage at a time, one acquisition at a time that doesn't put the rest in jeopardy, doesn't put our money army, our retirement army into jeopardy. They also had the systems. So we should create a metric and a system in how we acquire properties that we know is foolproof, that we've learned over time. We're putting a fort around every property, and that's by underwriting it correctly. One of the things I described is the 4 R's in every property. Rents. We should underwrite it at under market rents. I look at 5 to 7% below average market that I want a 10% cash on cash return. I then also look at break even. I want break even to be at 15% below market rents or higher. Same thing with reserves. I'm creating reserves for vacancy, repairs, and long-term capital expenses. On resale market, that would be in that 15%. You're having the rents, the reserves, then it's the rate. We are using leverage, but it's the right amount of leverage that doesn't put the property or the territory in jeopardy. That is a fixed rate 30-year term so that we control those costs over the years. And then the final thing is ratio. We're having the right amount of loan that doesn't put the property in jeopardy. And I recommend starting at a 70% loan to value, which gives you options if things get tough. So going back to the Roman legionnaires, if they were under attack and maybe for us the economic times get precarious, each fort we built around every bit of territory we took, every property we took, builds a stronghold to make it through the tough times. And if we do that every time, we've built a network of forts around all of our properties, purchasing it right, setting up the right systems in each acquisition, each amount of territory we've taken, but then we've built the proper defensive and then also offensive weapons. We've built properties that wonderfully cash flow, the numbers work, we're storing that money up to acquire more and more territory, more and more properties. We're building a fort around every bit of the properties we take, every bit of territory. We get stronger with each one, and we're able to build bigger and bigger empires with our real estate. I thought that would be a great illustration as I was reading some things from history. So learn from the Roman legionnaires back in the beginning of 300 BC to 300 AD, 2 millennia ago. Use those same principles as you're buying one more property at a time. Build the right fort around it so you can continue to take territory. Till next time. Or should I say, nailing financial freedom one property at a time.